Hi everyone.
Hi everyone.
We're actually at a place called Derby Reach Regional Park, which is really only about a half hour from where we live.
Yeah, it's in the township of Langley in Metro Vancouver.
Yeah, it's been a kind of a rainy, horrible weekend, a little bit of snow actually. So we decided to head out close to home and do some, what did you call it?
Semi-urban camping on the river.
Yeah.
So we hope you enjoyed the video.
So we're on the Fraser River, and all the sites at this park are along the river, and it's first come, first served. There's no reservations. I suspect it gets really busy in the summer because even, the beginning of March now, it's already fairly busy. Rustic sites, no power, they're not serviced. One of the nice things about this area, there's a lot of trails. Not really a hiking area, but there's lots of trails, and we walked into Fort Langley, which is a small little village about 5 kilometers from here, and had a nice walk along the river. The trail goes along, in a couple sections it goes along the road, but it's a quiet country road, and then it gets back to the river. And then we found a vegan restaurant for Mickey, and we had a nice lunch there, and then walked over to another park called Bray Island Park, which is another regional park. Not quite as nice as this in my view, but it's literally just across the river from Fort Langley, so very close to town.
It was a pretty long walk. I think we walked a total of...
Yeah, probably about 15K in total.
15. Yeah, so I was pretty stiff and tired actually when we got back.
So it was not quite as tough as a hike, but it was fun.
End of the trail part, and the trail joins the road. 2.8 kilometers to Fort Langley Town Center. On the other side is the Bray Island Regional Park, and you can also camp on the other side of this river. first time eating a hot dog with a knife and fork.
Anyway, we walked there, came back, had some snack, had a celebratory beer even though we didn't do a hike. So
Yeah.
we'll spend the night here and then see what tomorrow brings. If the weather's nice, I might actually get a paddle in. If not, I think we'll end up probably trying to go to a place called Fort Langley. There's a historic site. It's a national park actually, and so we might visit there. It's so funny, we were talking about the fact that you know, we often don't get out to places that are so close to home. So that's one of the nice things about bad weather. We didn't really want to drive anywhere. The mountain passes have snow.
Yeah.
So we're here.
Yeah, and we actually really like it. We've never been here before, even though it's so close to home. And the walk was really great, and we really enjoyed it.
Well, good morning.
Good morning.
We had a good night last night. One thing we forgot to mention yesterday, right across the Fraser River, there's two sets of railway tracks. So occasionally a train comes by and it's moderately loud. Not quite as loud as our, what was it, Gold Pan, where you had to really like trains if you wanted to camp there.
Yeah, but it was fine. Yeah, it didn't disturb my sleep at all.
We're literally the only campers here for probably a couple hundred yards. There's another trailer farther over, but it's very quiet. A bit foggy, but we can see some blue sky coming through. So I'm going to go out for a paddle, and I think Mickey's just going to enjoy the quiet morning here for a little bit.
One of the things we noticed about this park is that people come for the day and they're allowed to use the campsites during the day. If campers come by, they have to leave, but otherwise they can picnic and barbecue and use the fire pit and just sit around. So we had a few people yesterday who stayed till maybe about 10 o'clock or something.
Yeah, something like that.
The park closes at 10.
It's nice, but it would make it awkward if you're coming in to, especially in a campsite where there's no reservations, if you're coming in and wanted to camp there might be a family picnicking, having a fire. So as Mickey said, they're supposed to leave, but that would be kind of awkward to ask someone to. So
yeah, and you can't really always tell if they're camping or if they're just here for the day.
Usually the giveaway is they don't have a tent or any kind of a camper. So that's kind of a little awkward, but otherwise, yeah, it's a very nice spot.
By 10 o'clock, it was quiet and people left, and it was very peaceful here last night.
A bit of country, but right around the city.
And we just had the Metro Vancouver camp operators come by, and they took our money, $25,
Or you can use debit or credit as well.
Yeah, so they said right now they're on the morning shift, so they come by in the morning. Runner passing by.
So I'm just going to head out. It's still cloudy. We can see some blue sky coming through, and I'm going to grab the boat and head up a little ways and then paddle down the Fraser River, just because I've never had a chance to do that before.
Or float down, depending on the current.
Yeah, the current's very quiet. It was amazing actually how tidal. I got up last night and came outside, and it was a full moon, and it was just gorgeous. But the river was literally about 20 or 30 feet lower than it is right now, because we're very close to the ocean here. We're probably within 15 miles of the ocean. So the river's, if less probably, so the river is very tidal. And that was kind of interesting to see this body of water quite a bit more shallow, or less wide. I don't think there's a message in this bottle. Just garbage. Ooh, I wonder if I can make it through. Still close to the big city, or at least a suburb. It's a highway over there, and I think that's Maple Ridge. So pretty in the fog. It's too bad we can still hear the highway noise. The campground's right over there. It starts over there and carries on to about there. So I'm just going to basically paddle right across. You can hear the train across the river. Very loud. Avast, matey! It was an epic voyage. I think I saw the SS Minnow on the other side of the river.
Yeah.
So no sign of Gilligan or the skipper.
The adventurer's back.
It's a funny paddle because it's quiet and country-like, and then there's highway noises and trains, and so it's kind of an interesting mix. I forgot to put air in the seat, so my glutes were getting really cold in the river on top of the water.
Put it politely.
Yeah.
He actually used the A word earlier. You like some breakfast?
I'm a little damp.
Yeah. Since we're in the area, we thought we'd stop by here at the Fort Langley National Historic Site. So we have one of these annual discovery passes, and we were able to get into the historic site for free. Built in 1827, Fort Langley was a Hudson's Bay Company fur trading post. Located on the banks of the Fraser River, it was once part of a British trade route at the center of a large population of Aboriginal people. Currently, this is the only building here that is original, that hadn't been destroyed by fire or storms or floods. The fort originally started with fur trading. So after the fur trading was over, they actually moved into exporting various types of food, like salmon to Hawaii, cranberries to the United States, and potatoes to Russia. These are called authentics. You can actually rent them to stay. Just reserved through the Parks Canada reservation site. And this is the big house. It was the home to the fort's managers. It was reconstructed in 1958. 100 years after the colony of BC was announced here.
Kind of like our place.
And after the fur trading and trading of goods, gold was discovered, and it changed everything on the Fraser River. Fort Langley went from modest trade and provisioning post to the center of a gold rush of 30,000 miners.
A lot
Hi,
of time in
guys.
the woods,
Hello.
any tree planter
Hello.
always has good wool, because as good as the lofty down is, once that gets wet, you're hooped. With this, I mean, especially at BC where it rains nonstop, on these cold days I can still get drenched and still have some warmth to it.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah,
What's the coat made of?
you got it. This is made out of a Hudson's Bay Company blanket, actually. This is called a capot, and they would have been made in Canada by hand by your local seamstress, and essentially just chopping up your blanket and Frankensteining out a jacket out of it.
Perfect. Where can we get one of those?
That's a great question. Well, you go to your local Hudson's Bay store, buy yourself a blanket. Nowadays, when I was in town, I think they were selling them for about $500 to $600 each. And then probably about $300 worth of seamstress hours to put it all together. So they're a little more pricey than they used to be.
Yeah, I'm
you
sure.
can't just trade a couple beavers.
Okay, thanks guys.
You got it.
Yeah, that was fun.
You're welcome.
Thanks a lot. So it just goes to show you that no matter where your home base is, it's probably a good idea to explore it, because it doesn't matter how long you've lived in a place, there's always something new to find and explore. So we really enjoyed our visit to Fort Langley. So thanks very much for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed it.
So if you haven't already subscribed, please consider doing so. And don't forget to give us a thumbs up if you like this video.
So we'll see you next time.
Till next time.